If you're watching this video and have not attended this session, be sure to scan the QR code, fill out the form to record your attendance.
Welcome to our second session at the UDST Cybersecurity Club in partnership with Women in Cybersecurity. And by the way, regarding the partnership, I want to emphasize about this because in the comments that one of the members raised, why don't we have the women as a co-leader when we're partnering with Women in Cybersecurity? Again, this is a cultural organization network, so it doesn't mean that no women can be part of this, right? As a matter of fact, there's another organization called Flags Cybersecurity, and all three of us are actually part of it. So interesting. All right, so this slide or this presentation session, we're going to talk about ethical hacking and pen testing. Generally, if you go to the agenda, go to the agenda.
Yep.
Generally, we're going to be speaking about
Oh yeah, we were sharing it here actually. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah.
What is ethical hacking? We're going to go through that. And then the goals of ethical hacking, pen testing, the phases of pen testing, the methodologies that you must have as a hacker, the tools for pen testing, legal and ethical considerations, because again, we're guided by ethical hacking. So there must be goals and policies regarding that. The policies, the career opportunities and ethical hacking, as well as real world case study to help you out when it comes to hacking. So I'll give the floor to Ali to introduce us to ethical hacking.
Yeah.
Okay, before we start with the main agenda, first we want to talk about a little bit of some side topics before we jump into it. First of all, I want to jump and talk and ask about what is the hacking. Does anyone know what is the hacking in general when we talk about hacking? Okay. What else? Okay, perfect. So hacking is like exploiting a system. What does it mean exploiting? Try to find a way, to break in. Modifying a file, or you can say modify application features. That also considered as a type of hacking. Or we can steal data or credential. That's also considered as hacking. So these are considered as hacking. But the act of hacking is considered as what? What does it call? Attack. Anything you do, you exploit something, you steal something, you modify anything, that's considered as attack. Attack. So what is attack now? Attacks comes from motive and comes from a method and vulnerability. This is the formula of attacks. So any question? Can you guys give an example of any type of attack that happens nowadays? Phishing. I didn't use it.
Phishing, yeah.
Phishing, yeah. So, okay, phishing attack. So, what is the motive of this attack? To do what?
Personal identifiable information.
Gotcha. Good. And what is the method? How to do it? Email. Perfect. And what's the vulnerability? This is the tricky part. Who's the vulnerability?
The victim doesn't have the knowledge.
Victim knowledge. Oh, you can say humans. Humans are vulnerable. If I send you email, you just can see a reply back, click the link. Done. That's all I need. You click the link for me. So that's the attack. So let's move on to the other topic. Now we know what is hacking and what's attack. Now, who is a hacker? So hacker, we can say a guy who's smart, who has some technical skills, like what? Computer. I think in the last session we discussed it. So like in network skills, technical skills, computer skills, Python programming. So, and what's the okay, hackers, what they do usually, they do illegal activities. So this is a hacker. So let's move on to another one. And as for the last session, some student asked, we discussed about the type of hackers. We said we have a black hat, we have blue hats, we also have white hats. Well, you're wrong. There's more actually. So as you can see, there's 13 classes of hackers. As you can see, we have black hat, white hat, gray hat, suicide hackers. Suicide hackers are individuals who aim to bring down the critical infrastructure for cause and are not worried about facing jail terms and so on. Oh, you can read them there. Then we have script kiddles. Do you know what's the script kiddles, yeah? So this is the, I think you guys know about this. Cyber terrorists. Have you heard of this term before? Yes. Okay. What about state-sponsored hackers? Yes. And what's the aim of that? What they do usually? Yes. Perfect. To hacking, other countries, governments, that's called the state-sponsored hacker. What about hacktivists? What are they? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the who promote a political agenda by hacking, especially by using the hacking to defense or disable website. These are the hacktivists. More the other ones? There's more actually. But we also have hacker team. We have industrial spies, like a 007. So James Bond stuff. Yeah. Insider. We have criminal syndicates. I never heard of that actually. I don't know. Have you guys heard of it?
It's basically like organized crime. So you have you know how you have specific gangs who steal money? It's the same but in the digital way. Yes.
So criminals nowadays we have a cyber criminals. They're the same thing. Then we have organized hackers. Now who are they? Can you name them? Can you give example organized hackers? Okay. More? Any knowledge of any organized team who hacking? Anonymous?
Yes, anonymous.
Yeah, perfect. There you go. So these are the classes of hackers. So it's not only 3, there's more. So later on you can go through them and know more about them. Now, back to our main agenda topic, which is ethical. Now, who is the ethical hacker now? Is he the same guy who hacks the system? Is he the same guy who do the unauthorized access? No, this is other way around. He has authorized to do the hacking, to find the vulnerabilities, and everything are organized by the supervisor. For example, me. Currently, I'm working with a client to do penetration testing. So for that, I have a scope of access and data to tamper with or to deal with. So they give me the access of the servers, then I do pen testing based on my limitations. So that's called ethical hack. Okay, I cannot go beyond. I cannot go, steal some stuff from the other from other assets which is not mentioned in the contract. I think it's called the SOW, the statement of work. So yeah. Any thoughts? Any doubts? Yes.
By limitation, you said that the organization gives us limitation and not accessing certain information.
Yeah.
But the other hackers, the illegal ones, they would not unhack those information. They will find vulnerabilities and hack it. How are we supposed to find vulnerabilities in those information that are we not supposed to access?
Good question, actually. Okay. Anyone wants to?
Yeah. So basically, if I understand your question correctly, you're asking how will we find these vulnerabilities?
Information we are not allowed to access.
Yeah, well, basically, okay. So when you work for a pen testing company, you will deal with several clients. And when you deal with a client, you will have something called the rules of engagement. So the rules of engagement, for example, if a company has 10 subdomains, they will say, for example, 4 of these subdomains cannot be touched. You cannot try to access it in any way. The other 6 domains, you can try to exploit it in any way. They can even specify what exact type of vulnerabilities that you are allowed to exploit in that rule of engagement document.
So
Does that
again-
answer your question?
Yeah, so again, just to mention this, when you become a part of the organization as a penetration tester,
Yeah.
so usually the customer or the client, they ask you to do the pen testing in a specific, part or department. It's their requesting. Okay, if the system got hacked, this is their problem. They didn't mention the scope. If they mentioned, okay, we could have provided and then try to do the pen test and find out what's going on. So yeah, this is how penetration testing works. Any other questions before I move to the other one? No? Okay, to the next. And yes, this is my favorite quote from EC Council, where it say, to beat a hacker, you need to think like a hacker. Can someone elaborate? What does it mean?
What is the actual hacker mindset?
Now, what's the point? What's the
Yeah.
statement here? What are you trying to say?
Like that, so you can find what exactly is happening, like what exactly you're displaying.
Close. Actually, you're close. But good.
Like, let's say you want to protect your house from being robbed, so you think like a robber and say, where can a robber act? Can he go from the window? Can he go from
Yeah.
the door?
Yes. Yes.
He was step in front of him.
Yes.
Mm.
So basically, what we're talking about is attack surface. We see over what's the attack surface, and we're gonna analyze them, how we can remedy it. So basically, you have to think like a hacker. So the purpose of getting ethical, the purpose of getting Center for Ethical Hacker certification to first train you to become hacker, to know how to implement the attacks, to know how to do the bad stuff, for the purpose of finding these vulnerabilities and remedying them as the white hat and testers. So yeah. That's it.
Interesting. So when it comes to vulnerabilities, actually most of the vulnerabilities, there isn't really a formal way of finding them. Most of the vulnerabilities that were found were actually coincidentally or unintentionally. So following a methodology of hacking or attacking is going to increase your chances of you finding a vulnerability. First, starting with reconnaissance, which is basically you trying to get information, more insights about the target that you're attacking. There are 2 types of reconnaissance. There's passive reconnaissance, which is you indirectly interacting with the target to gather more information. That could be done through Google dorking, which is searching for info about the target. There's also active reconnaissance, which is you directly interacting with the target. That could be done through using scanning vulnerabilities like Nmap and such. The next stage becomes scanning and enumeration. That's where when you got the information, when it's sufficient for you to find vulnerabilities, that's the stage that you're going to find vulnerabilities. It depends on the information that you gather from the target. If it's sufficient enough, you're going to find the vulnerability. If it's not, then you're going to iterate back to the reconnaissance stage for you to find that vulnerability, and then come down to the second stage. Again, it's going to be a loop until you find that vulnerability between the first and the second stage. And then once you find the vulnerability, you're going to try to gain access through that vulnerability. That could be done through using exploits, phishing attacks, social engineering, hacking through people, and all of that just to get access to the target. And afterwards, you're going to try to maintain that access by installing backdoors. So for example, if you attack a system, you're not going to have 24/7, 24/7 access to that machine. So therefore, you must have a backdoor inside that machine installed for you to access it whenever you need to leave it. And then covering your tracks is an important element, because again, there are logs in every system that capture the events that take place in that system. So for you to clear those logs are going to make you stay stealth and undetectable. And then the post-exploitation, which is you laterally pivoting through the network. It's a big network such as the university. If an attacker would attack the university, for example, would attack this computer or this computer, that would be a student computer. It wouldn't have that access for someone to attack the university. However, if they pivot their access or movement to, for example, their instructor's PC, they would be able to access the instructors' credentials, maybe the IT department that can access this computer. So yeah,
Okay, so I will be talking about the legal and ethical considerations of ethical hacking. So basically, the differentiating factor between the cyber criminal and an ethical hacker is consent. So before you hack any system or network, you need to have written consent. It must be in a legal format and a document, like Ali mentioned, the rules of engagement, the statement of work, all of that. That must be properly documented, so you are not considered as unauthorized access. So it's not considered as illegal, basically. So yeah, as I said, it must be done before conducting any security testing or accessing systems to avoid legal. Because actually, there are certain legal laws depending on the country. There are also certain international standards that help protect against the unauthorized access, which I will go into in a minute. So examples of unauthorized access or illegal access would be, for example, like imprisonment, certain fines, permanent criminal record, and also potential civil lawsuits. So civil lawsuits, like for example, if a hacker gains unauthorized access to an organization, there will be many lawsuits. The customers of these organizations will basically perform litigation, and they will sue that specific company. Yes. Imprisonment. So jail time. So you will be, if you illegally gain access to a computer, you might get a sentence of 3 years. So you will go to jail for 3 years, basically. Yeah. For example. Please, Mohammed.
When an attack happens, how will the organization know that this guy attacked my company? So how do they trace back to them?
Okay. Well, as Mohammed mentioned, if the hacker does not clear his tracks perfectly, then there will be system logs. So, for example, if the hacker will hack a specific, let's say, database. So there are database logs. But okay, if the hacker is smart, he's gonna before or after he gains all of the sensitive data that he's looking for, then he's gonna delete all of the logs to cover his tracks, basically, just like Mohammed mentioned.
Next slide.
Okay, so here in front of you, you have examples of 2 laws that I have handpicked. One of them is a federal law in the United States of America, and the other one is a local law here in Qatar. So let's start with the USA law. So this is the main federal anti-hacking legislation, which is known as the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. So basically, they came up with this legislation, I believe, in the 80s or 90s, if I'm not mistaken. And basically, it covered these 3 main components: accessing a computer and obtaining information, extortion involving computers, and transmitting spam. So, for example, when we say extortion involving computers, do you guys know what that means exactly? Extortion, the word extortion, but in the digital sense.
You hack your computer and take some of your data, then use it to blackmail you.
Perfect. Yes. What malware is that? What type of malware does that? Ransomware. Yeah. I don't know who said it. Yeah, ransom. Yeah. So basically, it will mainly protect against ransomware. The first point is accessing a computer and obtaining information. So obviously, if you do not have that statement of work, this will be considered under this law, that you are in violation of this law. Then you will have transmitting spam. So you guys know what spam is. Yani, every day you receive this one SMS, you won 1 million riyal from Lulu or whatever. And so this will be considered as spam. Then we have the local law here in Qatar, the Qatar Cybercrime Prevention Law, which was actually law number 14 of the year 2014. So basically, they mostly speak about the same thing, and it regulates and penalizes hacking of information systems, programs, networks, and websites. So, like I mentioned before, hackers they will not adhere to these laws. Obviously, they will just hack whatever they want. And here, actually here in Qatar, there is also another law called law number 16 of 2016, which is more related to the privacy of the data. So actually, if a hacker violates this law, he will violate the other law also. So it's a compounding effect. So the hacker might end up with, I don't know exactly the sanctions or the consequences, but if you break more than one law, it's maybe tens of years of jail time, depending on the actual organization.
Disobeying a chain of rules, a chain of laws,
Exactly.
If you disobey one law, that's also connected to another one, to another one. So imagine one law is, okay, you're prison for 3 years. And if you break this one, 3 more years, 3 more years, you'll become 15,
Exactly.
20 years in jail. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Next slide.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Okay. So here are some of the career opportunities. If you're thinking of becoming an ethical hacker, these are some of the careers that you might consider. So you have number one, penetration tester. He is here, Ali. And basically what he does is he simulates cyber attacks to identify vulnerabilities in the system. So he will act as the hacker. And like Ali mentioned, you will have the mindset of the hacker. I will come to the question this one second. So he will have the hacker mindset. And basically, he will simulate cyber attacks. So he will try to act as the hacker to identify vulnerabilities in the systems. Yeah, you had a question. If we use?
Does he use Burp Suite too?
Burp Suite?
Yeah. Answering to your question, when you join a company or any organization, they will have like a policy, what type of tools you're gonna use, what kind of operating system you're gonna use. So all of this is mentioned. In my case, I'm available. I mean, I can use Kali Linux, Metasploit, and Burp Suite. And there's something called Zap,
Yeah.
Zap, and Nessus. I'm access to these tools in this organization. In some organization, no. They give you maybe more flexibility. Maybe in other, like in military ones, they give you their own tools to access. There's some military that have really advanced ones. God knows what sort of tools we are talking about now, but they're really advanced. So, yeah.
Yeah. The second job that you might consider is being a security analyst. So basically, this is more of like a blue team role where you will monitor and protect networks and data from cyber threats. So one of the members previously, I think Khalid, he asked what a SIEM is. So basically, these guys, they will use tools like SIEM tools. They will use data loss prevention tools. They will use endpoint monitoring. So they will use all of these tools to monitor the systems and servers that an organization owns in order to detect any specific attacks. Then you have the bug bounty hunter. Okay, so this is actually a very interesting one. What a bug bounty hunter is basically, have you guys heard of HackerOne? It's a website.
And you submit like excesses, vulnerabilities, and other.
Yes, exactly.
You get like from minimum $100 to thousands. It depends on the company.
Exactly, yeah. So basically, anyone can participate in this or in these programs that are set up by big companies like Microsoft, Google, Snapchat. They have these programs where basically you can go in and there will be a scope, like Ali mentioned, where there are certain websites that you can hack or certain domains or certain vulnerabilities that you can exploit. So if you go and find these security flaws, you will receive a lot, very big rewards. Like you mentioned, for example, it can range from a couple $100 to $100,000. Apple has a bug bounty program where if you find any vulnerability in an iPhone that is critical, you get paid $1 million just for that vulnerability alone. So then maybe another one that you want to consider is the vulnerability researcher. So these guys, they will, just try to find public weaknesses, and they will usually report them to the public, just so all the companies are aware of these newly identified vulnerabilities.
Slide. Yeah.
Hello.
I have a question.
Yes,
Can they do that without the authorization of them from the company?
yes, then they will be considered but if you participate in the bug bounty program, it's considered ethical because you are adhering to the scope, to the specific tools that you need to use and the specific domains that you can target. So it can be considered ethical. It's fine.
Yes, you have a question? Okay. Just make it forward.
Yeah. This is a short case study that I want to present. So basically, the U.S. Department of Defense in 2016, they launched this program called Hack the Pentagon. So this program actually was the first of its time. I believe no other federal government in the world launched a program like this in 2016. And basically, they invited any ethical hackers around the country to identify vulnerabilities in their systems. So basically, you can say it's similar to the bug bounty program, but on a federal level, right? So obviously, government systems, they will be much harder to penetrate, and obviously, it will be harder to find vulnerabilities in the systems. So, but even though they found over 2,100 specific vulnerabilities in these systems, and basically this helped strengthen the national defense security. So basically these hackers, when they found these vulnerabilities, they wrote their findings. How did they find it? Where did they find it? How did they exploit it? How to remediate? So you have to write all of that. You have to write a report after you find the vulnerability and exploit it to notify the client on how to remediate this vulnerability, or in other words, solve the vulnerability or fix it. Right. And these are the results from the Hack the Pentagon program. So you can see in the first 13 minutes of the program launching, they found their first vulnerability, or one hacker found the first vulnerability in the first 13 minutes of the program launching. Then after 6 hours, there were 200 officially submitted reports immediately after the program's launch. So this shows you that even federal systems are not as secure as you think. And obviously, the total number of hackers that participated are 1,410. So all of these hackers were simultaneously trying and actively trying to find vulnerabilities that are within the scope that was outlined by the Department of Defense or the Pentagon, Department of Defense. Yeah. So and in total, there was a total number of $75,000 of bounties paid across these 1,410 hackers. Obviously, it depends on the severity of the vulnerability. If it's a very high vulnerability, like I said, you get paid more. And yeah.
All right, guys. So this those are the resources. Oh no, actually. Okay, yeah. So when it comes to gaming, so we're actually supposed to do a Kali Linux demonstration, practical one. So we would have 2 pairs of students trying to hack each other's virtual machines, but that didn't work because we had to get consent from the IT department. However, we're going to speak about a common sense topic here. Any of you guys play video games? I'm talking about shooting games, killing, blood. What games do you play? Warzone? Cool. Any Valorant? I know Hamid likes to play Valorant. Valorant. That's cool. We're gonna love this topic. So when it comes to games, all of games are running in VRAM, or random access memory. So usually, or it's always the case that they're compiled, so you're not able to see the resource or the source code of the games to see the functionality, how the game functions, how the recoil works, how the deep core of the game works. So you're not able to see that. However, you're able to see with the use of reverse engineering. That is a topic or domain in cybersecurity where it gives you the capability to actually view the source code of any program, not just games. Guidra is actually one of the applications for reverse engineering. It was created by the NSA, National Security Agency. So yeah. Now, speaking about gaming and cybersecurity, what do you guys find in common? No ideas? Cheating, right? So I'm going to be speaking about the legacy way of attacking, which is done through, for example, if this is the main PC that I'm playing on, right? I would install a cheat on it and I would cheat. But that's not the way to do it in the modern day, because all cheats or all games have anti-cheats. So it's easy to get detected if you install a malware or a cheat to cheat in the game on the main PC. Therefore, the new way of cheating is called a DMA kit. It's very expensive. However, it's cool because imagine this. You buy the kit, you show off your friends that you're good at playing, they invite you whenever they play squad games, right? So it's really cool. I know this demonstration is kind of hard to grasp. However, I got the kit right here, so I'm going to be showing it to you guys. So first, this is what's called a DMA. It's a direct memory access. It gets inserted in the PCIe slot of the main PC, and then it gets connected to the second PC. So you're supposed to have two computers, right? So the second computer is going to be where you install the cheat on. It doesn't have to be that advanced. The processor can be weak or anything like so. So it doesn't have to be that advanced. However, the main PC is the one that we're going to mainly play on. So you're going to install the cheat on the second PC, install this DMA kit on the main PC, and then connect it via the Type-C port to the second PC. What this does is basically sends the data and receives it through the main PC and the second PC by processing the instructions that are being sent by the or the cheat on the second PC. So that's what this does. Now, the second kit or tool that is the cam bots. This tool is used for aimbots. Any of you guys know aimbots? Aimbots. So basically, when you aim at a player, this tool will help you out in targeting and aiming, unlocking the aim on that player, right? There is a new way of aiming nowadays. It's called AI aimbot. So you can use the AI to help you or assist you aiming on the player. So it gets connected to the second PC that has the cheat functioning and the main PC that is the one that you're playing on. And it's basically going to help you trigger the aimbot as well as the aim assist. The last tool, which is called a fuser, really small. And what this does is enormous. So it allows you to view the users or the players on the game, if they're invisible or not, whether they're behind walls, behind the terrains, you can't see them. So it allows you to view them. It's called the ESP. So basically it has 3 ports. One of the ports is connected to the second PC, where again, the cheats operate in. And the second port is connected to the main PC. That's going to help you process and see the players behind the terrains, etc. And the third port is connected to the monitor. So yeah, that's basically about it when it comes to the new way of cheating. Nowadays, the old way of cheating of installing a cheat on the main PC doesn't work. So yeah.
Is there a way to game developers to combat this?
No, there isn't actually. As of now, there isn't. They've been trying so hard to do this. However, there's no way to detect it because again, the cheat is not on the main PC, it's on the second PC. Again, this DMA, there's something called a firmware. You have to actually install firmware in it. So it acts or emulates a device that is just like the mouse, right? So that the anti-cheat will see this device as a mouse or as a keyboard. So it wouldn't really see it as a cheat. So there isn't really a way to combat this. Any questions?
Can't they just see the record of the game and look?
Yeah, there are recordings. I mean, yeah, we can pull up, watch some on YouTube, but if you guys want that. But I was trying to actually get it on here, but again, I can't access this computer. I can't install games and stuff. But yeah, there are recordings on YouTube if you want to watch. Just type in DMA cheats.
I mean, the company see the player having through the game.
Oh, he means can they detect?
No, again,
yeah.
same answer. They cannot detect it. They cannot detect it. It's really hard to detect. So no way of detecting.
Someone never, they will